The Giants are 6-1. The train keeps on pumping, and I love it. You didn't think they'd be 6-1. I'll be honest with you. I didn't think they'd be 6-1. But that's why you play the games. Shout out to Herm Edwards. You play to win the games. And it is what it is. Two of the biggest proponents to our success, Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Now, the bittersweet about that is that both are pending free agents. And that could be a sticky situation. I'm going to go with Daniel Jones first because he's So Daniel Jones, we drafted number 6 overall 4 years ago. And he's had a rocky start to his Giants career. Now, to his credit, he's had different head coaches and offensive coordinators. When he should have had his first change at offensive coordinator, or second, should I say, when we kept Jason Garrett, Joe Judge kept Jason Garrett for some strange reason. That was a hindrance to his progression. Because Jason Garrett, everyone knew what he was doing. He was running curls and clapping about it. Terrible. But I don't want to just say on Jason Garrett because he wasn't the only bad coach through Daniel Jones' tenure. But it also was on Daniel Jones as well. Daniel Jones turned over the ball at a clip that was historic. So I'm going to go over Daniel Jones' turnovers his first 3 years. First 3 years through 7 games, well, 7 weeks rather. 2-3. They had a 2-3 record and had 12 turnovers. That's pathetic. Second year, we're 1-6, had 11 turnovers. Just as bad. Then next year, 2-5, 6 turnovers. That's really bad. That's unconscionable numbers. This year, he's 6-1, 4 turnovers. And one of them was a David Sills pick was a pick attempted to go with David Sills. He fell on the route. So we just had a competent player in that moment. And it shouldn't have been an interception because Diggs was behind the player. It was against the Cowboys. In our only loss, mind you. On the year, he has a 90 and 90.8. So we're going to round that up to 91. A 91 QB rating. Like I said, 6-2 record. 66.7 completion percentage. Solid. 1,223 yards. That's solid numbers. Rushing yards, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. I apologize, I should have wrote that down. But he's 5th in the league and carries over 10 yards with 15. That's impressive. He's showing what he can do with his legs. The receivers, I would be, and he's been sacked 20 times through 7 games. So the offensive line does need to come up. Shout out Andrew Thomas. I did not say his name, and I don't know how in the last video. Shout out to Andrew Thomas. He's looking like an all-pro left tackle. He's looking like the best left tackle in the league, let alone just left tackle. He's looking like the best left tackle in the league. So forget the Pro Bowl. We need him all-pro. That's my Andrew Thomas. But the offensive line has still been sacked 20 times, so it is still a big bit of an issue. The interior has been tough. We suffered injuries. Evan Neal went down. Probably going to be down for at least 4 weeks. So that's going to be tough. Lewinsky isn't playing well. Someone else got hurt. I said Nate Silver, my goodness. Nick Gates just got activated, so that should be a big help. Whether or not he plays center or one of the guard positions, that should assist a lot with Daniel Jones. Because again, the offensive line giving up 20 sacks through 7 games is not ideal. But it could be worse. I feel like that's on pace to be better than what we've been the last couple of years. But Daniel Jones has just showed a lot of ability, shown a lot of grit. Was hurt in week 2, I believe. Hurt in week 2. Tyrod Taylor comes in, gives a concussion, a couple drives into the game, has to exit. Daniel Jones comes back into the game. He said, "Coach, I know you're hurt. I know we're hurting. You can't put a punter back there. I got you. I'm hurting. We hurting. But I got you." I like that from Daniel Jones' grit, playing with a bloody hand, forget a bloody sock. Kurt Schilling, who again, let's quick pause. I still don't believe that sock was bloody. That was catch-up. But Daniel Jones with the bloody hand game. Finished it through. Physically, the physical guy. Like I said, he was supposed to be hurt. Didn't miss a game after that. And all he did was miss time in game. So once he saw Tyrod Taylor was out, and it was hurt with concussion, with the whole concussion, things going on with the Tua Tagovailoa. The way they try to say he had a back injury on, but we all know was, come on. The NFL is being real, with the concussions. So we knew Tyler Taylor wasn't going to play. Daniel Jones said, "Hey, coach, don't worry about it. Get on my back, I got you." And again, with the 6-2 touchdowns, interceptions, if we had a more prolific offensive room, a receiver room, then I'd be more inclined to be frustrated with him. Kadarius Toney, as he just alluded to in 2 different videos, he's gone, but he basically only played 1 game. Wan'Dale Robinson has shown some stuff these last 2 games, but he's been hurt the majority of the season. He hasn't been there. Kenny Galladay, after a very underwhelming offseason, and then, preseason not looking the hottest, he's been hurt too. Now, again, Kenny Galladay, I will say a lot of people are talking about what he is and isn't doing. I like the way he was been blocking throughout. Still, running hard seems hard to argue with some of the tape that's out there. But he's blocked hard for sure. He's blocked hard. He's been a good teammate. When Kadarius Toney was missing in the offseason, he was vocal saying that he should be there. So those are positives. I just hope that we can find to get, he can find it in himself, or we can find a way to get something out of that situation. But Daniel Jones, like I said, he's playing with Richie James as his leading receiver. Richie James through week 7. We got tight ends, Bellinger, who's shown to be really one of the best 6th-round picks, maybe in, it's my lifetime as a Giants fan. I know it's gonna come back to bite me. I know there's a 6th-round pick out there that did something majestic, but yeah, that's a bad room. That's a bad receiving room. And there's a damn bit of hurt. Richie James, their best receiver, that's tough. So I don't want to put that on Daniel Jones. The way he's playing with his legs is very, very impressive. You have to game plan for his legs, not just his arm. It's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. Right now he's guaranteed a contract. He's guaranteed, he would, even if he played, 1 or 2 ticks below what he's at right now, I think he's guaranteed at least $60 million guaranteed on a contract. He's guaranteed a contract worth at least $60 million guaranteed, in my opinion. About 3 years. With the franchise tag looming, Dan Jones is gonna get some money, and I'm not even mad at it, to be honest. Again, if that's what has to happen. This is the world we're living in. We decided not to pick the 5th-year option, not him. So I'm sure he would have signed it. I'm sure he would have signed a reasonable deal. But it wasn't about him, whether he wouldn't have signed or not with the 5th-year option. He would have no choice. So we decided not to do that, so that's on us. But I don't blame him with everything that was going on, with what he's shown as a player to that moment. I can't blame Joe Shane for not wanting to get a year first. Now, it might cost us, but let's go to Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley has literally been the heart and blood of this team. 2nd in the league in rushing with 762 yards, 726 yards, I apologize. 5.1 yards a carry, 4 touchdowns. Has 17 big runs. I'm going to assume that they meant, when I read the stat, I'm assuming they meant their big runs were, I'm sorry. Carries over 10 yards. He has 17 of them. And then I believe he has 6 over 20, if my calculation was correct. Caught another 25 passes for 180 yards. He's been a stalwart. He's been a workhorse. We've definitely been saddling up and riding Saquon Barkley. And especially if you look at a quarter by quarter, we've been easing him into some games. Yes, if you look, the carries go up and yards and production go up per quarter. And that's a positive. That shows a guy that's healthy, doing all the jump cuts, doing all the speed is back. The shoulders look like boulders with the quads. He's looking like a grown man. And the question is, conundrum is going to be, what do we pay him? He's literally, changing these games. Anyone who's watching his games from a game standpoint, game plan standpoint, can see that Saquon Barkley is 100% how we're, running our offense. Runs through him. So again, it's gonna be a tough situation. How do you just let him walk? What do you pay him? Do you give him max? Do you franchise tag him? We can't franchise tag both Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones. So that's an interesting conundrum right there. I'll be honest with you. In some ways, I would prefer to sign Daniel Jones to, a reasonable quote unquote deal and then franchise tag Saquon Barkley. Only because I'll be real with you. Again, I try to take away personal as well as looking at it from how the GMs and front office look at it. Saquon Barkley plays a position that you usually don't get a lot of life out of. He's been hurt a lot of the time in the NFL. How can you turn around and just give him a big contract? But at the same time, you see when he's healthy, he can flat out control the game. So what do you do? Where do you value? It's hard to thought of paying a guy and then he gets hurt and then what happens? Are they saying, is he only staying healthy, playing through injuries because he knows the money's coming? I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. I wish I could give you something better than I don't know what I don't know. If we don't sign Daniel Jones, we'll have to go find somebody else and then maybe be in a situation where, we take a step back from that point and then pay Saquon Barkley. But that's just usually not how it goes. If you can recall, the Tennessee Titans were in a similar situation to this recently, where they ended up paying both, because I want to say they did end up giving Derrick Henry a new contract. But I remember they paid Tannehill long term, and then they kind of just gave a couple years extension to Derrick Henry. And it's just one of those situations where, and I apologize if I found that wrong or interpreted that wrong, but at the end of the day, we're gonna have to make a decision of, do we want to keep Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones? Which one do we see is more important? Saquon Barkley seems like a guy that's harder to replace, if you ask me. In the sense of, let me rephrase that. Because again, running backs seem like the easiest position to replace. But Saquon Barkley is a guy that's doing a lot of things. Taking a lot of contact, catching the ball, taking a lot of attention and still running through it. Daniel Jones, before this year, was a turnover machine that, yes, it could run, but that's not new anymore. Like, that's not a one-off. Most quarterbacks at this point can run. So is it possible that we could find another young guy that can do what he does? But then again, the same thing with the running backs. It's just really tough. It's really tough because I'm talking with my heart, not necessarily my mind, because I don't want to see either of them go, if I'm being honest with you. I don't want to see Daniel Jones go. Since he's playing well. It's easy to bring back the love. I saw his first snap ever in person. I went to go see Eli that game, but because I knew that was probably going to be his last year. And it was. And I saw Daniel Jones' first snap. And I saw Saquon Barkley with a 16-catch game, broke an NFL record. So I've seen these guys. It's like my heart is into it. And I'll be honest with you, as a Giants fan, seeing so much bad play over the last 10 years, I would like to see two players that have been a part of a handful of it to be a part of the reason why we turn the corner and get better. Is that selfish? Maybe. I'll be honest with you, that might be a little selfish, but that's where my mind is. That's where it's at. I should have been coming at the Giants. It's a little long-winded for a non-documentary type video, but hey, I had to let the guys get the spitball. That's how I get sometimes. I'm going to start making more Giants content so that it don't have to be so long, and it can be just, more focused on a specific topic, things like that. But 6-1, the Giants are getting it done. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, will they be Giants next year? I'm gonna say both are gonna be Giants next year. I think we find a way to get it done, just because there's just too much going on as far as where we've been as a team to where we seem to be going. It's just tough to believe that we're just gonna, try to reinvent that all over again. So, but I don't know. I'm just a fan. They don't ask me my opinion, but I'm here to tell you anyway. Don't hold me like you don't know me. Follow me on Instagram, Master Bruce, Twitter, Master Bruce CB, Spotify and Instagram, Master Bruce CB. Show me love. I appreciate you. We're here for you. Go Giants.